Okay, deep dive fans, buckle up, because we're going where most career counselors wouldn't dream of going.
Into the mind of a monk.
Well, close enough. We're diving into the world of monks and nuns, but get this, from a career perspective,
You're kidding, right?
I wish I was. Turns out even a life dedicated to spirituality has a career guide these days. RoleCatcher released their Monk-Nun, the complete career guide, back in December 2023.
Wow, someone actually wrote that.
Yeah, and it's a whole thing. Daily routines, required skills, even career progression. I mean, where do you even begin with a guide like that?
I have no idea. It's not like your typical 9 to 5, is it?
Not even close. But RoleCatcher jumps right in, tackling the daily life of monks and nuns. We're talking prayer, self-sufficiency, service to the community, all that good stuff.
It's funny how those core elements of monastic life are things a lot of people are searching for these days. A sense of purpose, a connection to something bigger, a supportive community.
Don't forget the peace and quiet. But you're right. Maybe we're not so different after all. Anyway, RoleCatcher doesn't just stop at chanting and gardening. They dig deeper into this self-sufficiency thing.
What do they say?
So it's not just about personal survival, but about contributing to the community, being a vital part of the bigger picture.
That makes sense. Historically, monasteries were often hubs of knowledge and skilled craft.
Right, think of all those monasteries famous for brewing beer or the ones known for their calligraphy.
They were masters of their craft, not just spiritual seekers.
Exactly. They weren't just places of worship. They were vital to the local economy, too. Which brings us to a pretty interesting section of the guide, the skills section.
Let me guess. Patience is up there.
You bet. But it gets even more surprising. RoleCatcher gives us functions and core abilities, and we're talking negotiation at 55%, persuasion at a whopping 63%, and management at 55%.
Wait, seriously? I mean, I get the need for some conflict resolution when you're living in close quarters, but negotiation and persuasion, those are power skills.
Right. It's like, are they running a business or a monastery?
Well, imagine you're a monastery representative negotiating land rights, or maybe even trying to secure some funding for a new building project.
Okay, so you're dealing with the outside world, but still, it's pretty wild.
You've got to know how to make your case, understand where the other side is coming from, and find that sweet spot, that compromise.
It's like they're running their own mini society with all the complexities that come with it. Okay, I see where they're coming from with those percentages. Now, this one makes sense, 94% philosophy and theology, but get a load of this 76% therapy and counseling. That's a new one. I don't picture monks whipping out couches and notepads.
Think about it, though, spiritual guidance. People come to monks and nuns looking for advice, needing someone to listen. They need a safe space.
And the monks and nuns offer counsel, help people navigate tough times. That's essentially therapy, right?
It is. Even if they're not licensed therapists, they're supporting their community's well-being. That takes some serious empathy and listening skills.
So we're talking about real transferable skills here. This isn't just some ancient mystical knowledge.
Not at all.
But I gotta ask, surely there are some downsides to this whole monk and nun thing.
You think. Every path has its trade-offs, right?
Touché. We're back and still wrapping our heads around this whole monk and nun career thing.
It's one thing to dedicate your life to something bigger than yourself, but to have a career guide with stages and a progression.
I know, right? I keep picturing some kind of monastery promotion ceremony.
Maybe they get a raise on their rice allowance.
Okay, that's pretty good. But seriously, RoleCatcher outlines this path. Novice, professed, senior, like, they're all official titles.
It's less about moving up the ladder, though, and more about spiritual growth and experience.
Right. Okay, so the novice stage is all about learning the ropes, soaking it all in.
Exactly. They're absorbing those traditions and practices.
Like a spiritual apprenticeship.
A good way to put it.
So then you move on to professed, taking on more responsibility, maybe even mentoring newer novices.
It's like the old saying, student becomes the teacher.
And finally, we've got the senior monks and nuns, years of practice, wisdom, guiding the whole community.
They've reached that next level.
It's pretty cool, actually. And RoleCatcher brings it all to life with these little example profiles.
They did.
Yeah, for each stage. They have these different monks and nuns talking about their experiences, especially the senior monk.
What'd they say?
They talk about using their deep spiritual wisdom to help others. That's when it hit me, you don't just learn this stuff overnight.
It makes you think twice about the whole thing, yeah. But here's the other interesting thing about RoleCatcher. This guide. It's just one small part of their whole platform.
Wait, really? I thought it was just this guide.
Nope, they've got everything.
Yeah.
Interview prep, a CV builder, even employer matching.
No, this is getting wild. Hold on. So are we saying monasteries are going to be on there, like, looking for recruits? Like, click here to apply now.
Hey, it could happen.
Stop it. That's too funny.
I mean, why not? The world's changing fast.
Yeah.
Even these ancient traditions got to adapt. Think about it.
Monks with LinkedIn profiles, networking online.
Got to keep those resumes updated.
Oh, man, I can't even. Okay, but seriously, if a platform like RoleCatcher exists, does that mean these skills are useful outside the monastery?
That is a very good question. We're so plugged in these days, constantly bombarded.
Tell me about it.
To disconnect from all that, to find a little stillness, some inner peace, that's got to be valuable.
It's like a superpower these days.
Yeah.
And isn't that what monks and nuns have mastered?
Exactly.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah.
We've got all this tech, all this stuff, but deep down, aren't we all still looking for that meaning, that purpose?
And that sense of belonging, like you were saying?
The same things that drew people to monasteries centuries ago.
It's kind of poetic when you think about it.
You know, I thought this deep dive was just going to be about monks and their weird careers, but this is getting kind of deep, right? It makes you think about your own life, your own purpose. Like, what am I doing here?
And that's the beauty of perspective. It challenges us, makes us look at things differently.
Who knew monks and nuns could have this much wisdom to offer? Well, we're going to take a quick break, but stick around. We've got more to uncover in the mysterious world of monastic career paths. And we're back, folks, still deep in the world of monks, nuns, and their unexpected career paths. Who knew there was so much to say?
It's been quite the journey. From chanting to contracts, poverty to platforms.
I know, right? Makes you think that maybe monasteries aren't so different from the rest of the world after all.
Well, they are part of the world, aren't they?
True, true. But it's just wild to think that even they have career guides now. What's that say about how we see work and meaning these days?
Maybe it's a sign of the times. People wanting their work to mean something, to connect with something bigger.
To be about something more than just a paycheck at the end of the week. And isn't that what monastic life is all about? Dedicating yourself to a higher purpose, helping others, focusing on inner peace instead of material wealth. It's like those ideas aren't new, but they feel incredibly relevant right now, you know?
I agree.
Yeah.
In our tech-obsessed go-go-go world, those values offer a refreshing alternative.
Right. Mindfulness, compassion, community. We might have all the gadgets and gizmos, but it's those human connections that really matter.
It's like we're rediscovering the things that have always mattered.
It's funny how that happens. We started this whole deep dive thinking it was just going to be about this niche career path, but it's really made me think about my own life,
Me too.
my own work, what I'm contributing. It's been eye-opening, to say the least.
That's the power of exploring new perspectives.
Yeah.
It can really shake things up.
So to everyone listening, whether you're considering trading in your suit for robes or you're just trying to find a little more meaning in your day-to-day, take a page from the Monk and Nun handbook.
Why not?
Empathy, resilience, finding purpose in stillness, and service. Those are lessons we can all learn from.
Absolutely. Those are the keys to a fulfilling life, no matter what path you choose.
Well said. Big thanks to RoleCatcher for creating such a thought-provoking guide and sparking this incredible conversation. And of course, thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this journey. Until next time, stay curious and keep those deep dives going.